voice in chat, please, and then we'll be ready to go. We have confirmation. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live stream for Games Matter here on Indie Gamer Chick TV. Today, I'm going to be playing a game called Arcadecraft for you guys, and along with me, I have the developer of this game, the man by the name of Matthew Lee. How are you doing today, Matthew?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do as I start getting this game set up on stream for everyone to see.
Like you said, my name is Matthew. I am one of the two partners here at Firebase Industries in Vancouver, Canada, and I mostly do all of what you see when you're playing the games, and the vast majority of the design behind the games.
How many people are there at Firebase working with you?
Full-time, just two of us.
All right. Those of you in chat, feel free to inform me about volumes. If anything's too loud, anything's too quiet. Fixing volume is the easiest thing to do when it comes to streaming. So if it needs changing or fixed, just let me know, and I can try to accommodate as many people as possible. So, I have played a little bit of Arcadecraft, played some of it yesterday, and I enjoyed what I played of it, but unfortunately, I kind of ran my arcade into the ground. So, what exactly is it that we do here in Arcadecraft?
Well, the goal of the game is to take your seed money that the bank gives you at the very beginning and just try to, buy the machines that you feel your customers will like and build the most sustainable business you can out of soaking quarters out of people. It's just games in Arcadecraft, just like in real life. Video games come into popularity and then they slowly die over time, and you got to replenish your stock of games and keep games coming into the location that people are interested in and want to play.
The interesting thing about Arcadecraft is even though it might sound like a Minecraft clone, it is actually a management game. So what were some of the inspirations behind the title?
Minecraft? No, really, it came down to, before Minecraft, there was StarCraft, and there were Warcraft, and those were strategy, RTS-style games.
Mm-hmm.
And, I won't deny that the craft thing has become this kind of thing you just kind of snap onto the end of stuff to try and get, people interested in your game. But when we were originally looking at titles, like Tycoon games are probably the closest thing to what we were doing, but the word Tycoon just never sat well with us. We also never were sure if anyone actually owned it, so we didn't want to call it Arcade Tycoon, because when I hear the word Tycoon, I think of a guy in a top hat and a monocle, and that just wasn't what arcades were about, so just wanted something more contemporary.
Is there any specific game in particular that inspired the idea behind Arcadecraft in the entirety of the game?
Game Dev Story on iOS is probably the closest thing at the time. I was actually playing a ton of it after I'd finished our last game, Orbitron Revolution, before we made this, and I thought, well, in the Xbox Live Indie games scene, a lot of games were using avatars, and they were getting very popular for using them. And I thought, well, if people really want avatars, and people like games like Minecraft where you can customize and build your own kind of environments, and people also like this Game Dev Story game, maybe I can kind of push all three of those sort of ideas together into a single game. And honestly, the whole game design for this thing came in about 20 minutes. It was just like one of those weird lightning, or just shot in the dark sort of things where suddenly all the pieces fell together or fell into place, and I was like, oh, you can get a space and you can buy machines and you can pick them up and move them and rotate them, and there's different types of machines, and There's roller controller ones and tabletop ones and joystick ones and cabinet or cockpit ones and so on. And it was just everything just kind of fell into place really quickly.
Now, you mentioned that this game originally came out on Xbox, but this is the PC version that I'm going to be playing today. When it comes to the giveaways that Indie Gamer Chick is giving away, I believe she's only going to be giving away the PC version. I don't know about the Xbox version. She'll have to tell people about that. I'm not completely sure about that one. But was it really difficult to port the game over from the Xbox Arcade onto the PC platform?
It was actually. There was always a PC version of it that existed. However, the problem was that it had no mouse control at all. It was all joystick and keyboard based. And also, when you lose the avatars from the Xbox, you have no replacements unless you make them yourself. So what we had to do is we had to go out and contract a character artist we know pretty well to recreate, or not recreate, but create us a whole new character set. So that was a big thing, and also all the animations never transferred over, so we had to have an animator come in and kind of recreate the animations that we were using originally on the Xbox One for the PC version. On top of that, we went through all the source textures that we used originally and found the highest resolution ones we could and put those ones on the PC version, because we were dealing with way more memory on the PC, and added some new features and so on. But it took about 4 months to port it, I think, something like that. And you're working on bugs. You're just trying to make the UI as good as you can, given the circumstances, and filling in all the blanks that you couldn't. You had left over when you moved from Xbox to PC.
This game that I'm currently going to be playing, I'm going to be playing the Steam version. Where else is it available, and how much is it available for?
I think price parity. It's like wherever you find it's price parity, but really the only few places you can get it are Humble Store and Steam right now. We haven't put it on a lot of different sales portals for a number of reasons, just for clarity, mostly, just because it's easier to know where it is if it's only in 2 places, and we only advertise it being available in 2 places.
Now, there's been a couple of games to make their way over from the Xbox Arcade Marketplace onto Steam. And you mentioned that you have done a couple of things to the PC version that isn't actually in the Xbox version. Are there any really big differences between the 2 versions of the game, or would someone get a same or similar experience buying and playing the version on Xbox than they would get on the PC?
On the PC one, we've actually added a couple of new machines. Or maybe more, I'm not sure, but 2 of the machines that we added are available immediately. And it actually makes the game a little bit easier on PC than it was on Xbox. We haven't updated the Xbox one in quite a while, and it's actually a bit of a tougher game as a result. But really, yeah, the PC one's gotten through...
Hello?
Hi? You still?
I thought we lost you there for a second. You cut out that sentence.
That's all right. We fixed bugs on the PC one. There are machines available that aren't available on the Xbox One. That's really the biggest deal.
Now, before we get started here, we actually have a question here from Indie Gamer Chick. And anyone who has any questions for Matt, feel free to throw them in chat. I'll do the best I can to try to read chat and send them to him. And I think he's in chat as well, so if you come across any questions that you specifically want to answer, feel free to answer them when you can. But Indie Gamer Chick's question is that some people find Arcadecraft too easy, and some people find it too hard. Do you find... Let's see... Do you realize you have one of the most polarizing difficulty curves in any sim game that she particularly has encountered in the indie scene, and how do you deal with that? So basically, I guess she's asking, how do you really balance the difficulty in the game?
Well, that's an excellent question. It is, because it's all numbers based and the systems in this game actually are really deep, it's difficult to do a difficulty choice. We wouldn't even know where to start if we had easy, medium, hard in it. What I think it comes down to is a lot of people, and every game has this. A lot of people don't read text when it appears. People just kind of click by it, and everything Lisa says to you, that you're kind of business manager in the game, she always tells you more or less exactly what you should be doing. And if you read what she says, it's actually pretty obvious the sort of direction you should be taking. But really, the game more or less comes down to genres. Every arcade machine has a genre in it. So I think there's platforming, shooters, racing, sports, puzzle games, things like that. And every time you've got a genre, what you want to do is you want to have at least a representation of one of every genre in your arcade. And because it's effectively something for everything. Everybody, if someone only likes sports games, they're not going to come into an arcade filled with shoot 'em ups. So you're trying to get one of everything, so that you can get the most popularity out of your machine set. I don't know if that really answers the question, but that's the best I can do, I'm afraid.
All right, so let's actually get started into the game here a little bit. I played this game some yesterday, like I said before, but unfortunately, naming my arcade Flynn's Arcade did not help out, and I'm pretty much in a position where I don't think I come back from. So we're going to start a brand spanking new arcade. So we shall make a brand new one. We are going to pick our avatar that we can actually go along with. Which one do you think we should go with? Is there any method to the madness when it comes to picking avatars, or is it just the portrait and it doesn't really matter who you pick?
It's just the portrait. Yeah, what's you'll notice is we tried to have equal male-female representation there, and because we found a lot of the people who were playing the game were women, as well as there were men, and really it was actually up to the character artist that we contracted to come up with the look and style of everybody. So he was more or less responsible for everyone you see there, and I just pulled the names out of a hat. So just choose the one you like and go from there.
All right, we are going to go with let's go with the lady with the sunglasses. That's what I was using before. I kind of like the fantastic sunglasses indoors and at night. It's fantastic. All right, so Indie Gamer Chick says that she knew that I would name it Flynn's Arcade. You have to. If you're playing a game and you can name an arcade, you have to name it Flynn's Arcade. It's almost required, basically. So you got a little bit of a tutorial here. I'm going to skip through most of this tutorial, but the main thing to pull from this is that this game actually starts in 1980 and moves out through the years from there. How far does the game actually go?
It goes to 1987. Originally, we wanted to do the whole decade, 80 to 90, and we only wanted to have 100 machines in the game. But unfortunately, if you do the math, that's only 10 machines out a year, and at this cadence of the game, you could buy every single machine every single month, and it just wasn't fun. So we unfortunately had to pack more machines into every single year and then pull the back end of the game in. So yeah, we effectively capped it. I think in 1987 is the last year you can actually sim to, and the game stopped coming out at the end of 1986 because it doesn't make any sense to release a brand new game on the very last month of the actual sim, because you'll get a month of revenue out of it, and you will effectively be down the purchase price of the machine.
Was there a particular reason why you decided to end at 87 instead of allowing players to just keep going as long as they possibly could?
All games have a trail, or sort of a tail on them, where they become completely useless for bringing revenue in until they become classic games. You can hold them, but classic games bring in so little money that I don't think you can even pay your rent by 1988 at the rate at which they would actually generate income. So it's better to just say, okay, this is the end of the game. At least we thought. Better to say it's the end of the game, thank you for playing, try again, than just slowly bleed you dry over months and months and months.
Have you thought about trying to add more things on, now that it's on a PC version? Now it's on Steam and easier to update than it would be through the Xbox version. Have you thought about adding more things into the game, or like adding more games, adding more years, maybe some kind of unlimited mode that you can keep going as long as you can stay in business, anything like that?
Yeah, we've come up with a couple ideas that we would have liked to have added to the game. The biggest thing that's stopping us is we're in two people, so every